Today, we're going to replace the case extension's bushing and seal. The case extension's bushing holds the slip yoke in alignment. If the bushing is worn, the slip yoke will spin in an oblong pattern and destroy the seal. This will cause a leak. If you only replace the seal, the worn bushing will destroy the new seal. This video is relevant to all rear-wheel drive Astro and Safari vans that have the 4L60E transmission. To replace the case extension's bushing, the case extension will need to be removed from the transmission. First, remove the drive shaft. Index it to the pinion yoke before removal. Here, we are also replacing the drive shaft, so we did not index it. If you are not using a lift, make sure to chock the wheels before removing the drive shaft. At the axle end, remove the 4 bolts, socket size 8mm. I recommend 1/4-inch tools and a universal joint. You'll need to rotate the drive shaft a few times to access the bolts. At the rear of the transmission, have a drain pan ready. Disconnect the speedometer connector and remove 2 bolts holding an exhaust bracket. 1 bolt is missing here. That part of the case was not leaking, even with the missing bolt. The transmission case extension bolts up to the case via 6 bolts. We've already removed 2. 2 are easily accessible, and 2 are blocked by the transmission mount. The mount is held to the crossmember via 1 bolt accessed at the bottom of the crossmember. Socket size 15mm for all bolts in this section. After removing the bolt at the crossmember, lift up the transmission via its pan using a block of wood and a jack. Remove the bolts holding the transmission mount to the case extension. With the mount removed, the final 2 case extension bolts are accessible. With all the case extension bolts removed, carefully remove the case extension. The output shaft looks great. No damaged splines. I'm using a vise to hold onto the piece. It's holding with very little force. Use a better holding method. Use your favorite seal pulling method to pull that seal. I use this little tool. As you can see, I had a lot of fun with this seal. Next, we're going to use the Icon bearing driver set. The smallest driver fits perfectly onto the surface of the bushing. I'm using a 2-pound hammer and it's pushing slow and steady. There you go. Clean and inspect the surfaces. The new bushing for these vehicles can go in either way. Use a larger driver to seat it flush with the rim. We're going to install the recommended seal. It has a dust lip, so we can't use a driver. We can use this type of oil filter wrench. It sits on the seal perfectly. And the case extension is almost ready for reinstall. This method for bushing replacement also works on the older 4L60E vehicles. At the transmission, we're replacing the older case extension gasket. Lubricate the new one with clean ATF. Fit the new gasket onto the rim of the case extension. For the reinstall, we'll leave out the exhaust bracket for now. Snug up all 6 case extension bolts and torque the bottom 2 bolts to 26 foot-pounds. We're going to take advantage of the opportunity and install a new transmission mount. Its 2 bolts are tightened until snug. Lower the transmission onto its resting spot. The bolt at the bottom of the crossmember is snugged up. Remove 2 case extension bolts and reattach your bracket for the exhaust. This specific van is missing 1 bolt right here. There's some funky, interesting welding going on over here, so this will never line up with that hole. It's fine like that. It's been riding like that for a while, and there have been no leaks from this area. Don't forget your speedometer cable, your speedometer connector. It should just click into place. GM recommends that you add non-hardening sealer to the outside edge of the lip seal. And at this point, we are prepared to reinsert the drive shaft. Reconnect the drive shaft, aligning the index marks. New yoke strap and bolts cost about $10. Torque to 27 foot-pounds. Last part is adding transmission fluid and checking for the correct fluid level. To help with that, check out this video near the end. It's called Transmission Service Info for the Astro and Safari. I hope you learned something. Have a good day.